Lore Listening Library, Volume 7, Dragon Age Origins, Notes. Berwick's Letter. Berwick, we need your eyes and ears in Redcliffe. Stay in the village, keep your head down, and watch the castle. Report any changes, and you'll be well paid. A letter in Berwick's possession. A letter to someone in Highever. Dear Heather, how are you? How are father and mother? I don't know why I asked this. It was made clear so many years ago that I am no child of theirs. You are my only family now, and I thank the Maker that you had love and courage enough to keep calling me sister. I'm happy for you and overjoyed to hear of your upcoming nuptials. Count your blessings. I believe you've snagged yourself a fine lad. So young and already the owner of his own freehold. Soon you'll start a family of your own. Oh, Heather, I do envy you. But perhaps I shall envy you for not much longer. We have hoped and prayed for something, anything, and now I see the prison bars begin to bend and sag. So much injustice has been done to my kind, and they cannot have dreamed that the Maker would allow it to continue. There is a change coming to the tower. I can feel it. It both excites and terrifies me. I don't know when I shall write again, dear sister, but do not worry. If all goes well, perhaps no letters will be necessary, and you'll find me on your very doorstep. With much love, Gwynllian. A letter from King Endrin. If the warden is not a noble dwarf. My Lord Harrowmont, my guilt weighs heavily on me, and I know that I was a fool. Only a fool would cut out his own heart and burn it for the sake of appearances. I allowed the assembly to send my child to exile and death because I feared an inquiry into Trian's murder would taint our house with scandal. You have been my rock and my shield these long months, and for that I thank you. But I must ask for one thing more. I wish to discover if my child survived. Even the smallest trace will set my mind at ease. Send your men, your scouts, anyone who will go. Balin thinks I'm mad. He says that if word spreads of my wish, our house will be undone. He doesn't know that Iduken is already lost. I destroyed us when I sacrificed what was most precious. Please, Pyrel, help me. I come to you not as a king, but as a father. A note from the late King Endrin Iduken. If the warden is a noble dwarf. Perhaps you will burn this letter unread. For that I would not blame you. But I would not return to the stone without saying this to you. I have seen what Balin is, and when I saw it I knew I had been a fool. For only a fool would cut out his own heart and burn it for the sake of appearances. I never believed in your guilt. I allowed you to be exiled because I feared an inquiry into Trian's murder would taint our house with scandal in the eyes of the Deshers and cost our family the throne. But I have saved nothing by this sacrifice. I sent my only child into an uncertain exile. Know that whatever you do now, you bear all the honor and pride of House Iduken. A note from the late King Endrin Iduken. A note from Sir Henrik. So many of my fellow knights have been searching for the urn. Surely one of them must have found Brother Genetivi by now. Still, until I hear that all is well, I must proceed as planned. Brother Genetivi holds the key to finding the urn of sacred ashes. We always knew this, but I believe I now know where Brother Genetivi lies. I have been to his home in Denerim and found the trail, and I am amazed that other knights have not done likewise. Unless they have. No, it's best not to get caught up in the thoughts of conspiracies. Sir Donald awaits my report in Lothering. I must go to him immediately and report what I have learned. Should anyone find these ramblings, all I ask is that he be informed of my fate. I pray that he complete what I cannot. A note from Sir Henrik of Redcliffe. A letter from Rika. My dearest Prince Balin, you are too kind to me. I am a small and insignificant thing, and I do not deserve your attention. But your willingness to tolerate my presence shows that you to be a prince among men. I cannot thank you enough for the beautiful necklace you presented me. I will cherish it always, and I promise I will wear it at our next meeting. I know my gratitude means nothing to you, but I must say again, thank you. I will always be your humble and devoted servant. Yours truly, R. A carved elven tablet. 4 panels produced here appear to be part of a much larger mural. The topmost panel shows a jug overflowing with water standing on an altar. 3 elves in robes are positioned around the altar, while a crowd of elves in warlike regalia stands just slightly apart from them. Just below is a depiction of all the elves, those in robes and those in armor, prostrating themselves before the altar with worshipful expressions. Third from the top is a carving which shows one of the 3 robed figures, a woman with an elaborate tattoo on her face, drinking from the jug on the altar while the other elves watch. The bottom image shows the tattooed woman standing waist deep in a pool of water. She holds the jug with the water spilling out of its mouth. The armored elves bow before her, describing a strange tablet. A tattered shopping list. Sugar, wheat flour, fillet knife, ginger for Grandpa's flatulence, ink, cod liver oil, dried mushrooms, rouge, or lesion. Also remember to ask if more beeswax will be available soon. A note on crumpled paper. Graffiti in Redcliffe's Tavern. Don't eat the cheese. Scratched into the bar of Redcliffe's Tavern. Load limit reached. A confusing note. Mass will have an effect, he says. As long as it lifts us out, I agree. Should have specified within my lifetime. Give us time to talk, he says. How's a dwarf get named Shepherd? Up your shaft. No, really, because blah, blah, blah. Axe answers, but I still hear him. Drip, ground, drip, ground. Worse than his talking. Think I'll drop out for some air. Excerpt dwarf verse in 1 volume. Selection load limit reached. Anonymous scratched recovered from a cage hoist. Eventually. The Black Vials. Binding the first corpse walker. Let the dead no longer serve your whim. Bound by your true name, no mortal hand shall reach you. Kale via Zagat, revenant and perversion of an only son, death beyond death is no longer your stepping stone through the veil. Andraste holds you, demon, and bind your rage for eternity. 6 thumbprints in blood mark the end of the text. Binding the second corpse walker. Cast from your host, may you find no purchase on mortal ground. Bound by your true name as we are sworn to do. Nethamas Bagal, revenant and perversion of a fine daughter. No more will you test the veil, nor reach the fade to escape. Andraste holds you, demon, and bind your rage for eternity. 6 thumbprints in blood mark the end of the text. Binding the third corpse walker. This realm denies you, abomination, for taking our dearest. We are united against your kind and bind you by your true name. Arguth Masad, revenant and perversion of a treasured mother, No more shall fall, no more shall need to stand. Andraste hold you, demon, and bind your rage for eternity. 6 thumbprints in blood mark the end of the text. Binding the 4th corpse walker. You deny our dead their rest, and so you also will be hounded. Let the strength of our union bind you by your true name. Quametha Kagat, revenant and perversion of an honored father, though no spirit cage will undo what was suffered. Andraste hold you, demon, and bind your rage for eternity. 6 thumbprints in blood mark the end of the text. Binding the 5th corpse walker. We condemn both spirit and host for inviting the walker. With solemn hearts we bind you by your true name. Shamas Goodson, revenant and perversion of a rare friendship. Regret holds more pain than burying the dead. Andraste forgive you, brother, and bind your weakness for eternity. 5 thumbprints in blood mark the end of the text. Binding the 6th corpse walker. United we purge this realm of your corruption. The smallest among us binds you by your true name. Anton Wither, revenant and perversion of a friend not met, your strength enguiled, denied by innocence. Andraste hold you and bind your rage for eternity. 6 thumbprints in blood mark the end of the text. 1 is small, as though made by a child. Correspondence Interruptus. A collection of embarrassing personal communications between the spoiled wealthy and their objects of obsession. My darling Reginald, I burn for you, and because of you. Please use the enclosed tincture if our love is to endure. Sari. Tuorith Lowstone. Age, race, height, I care not for the differences others perceive, but matching your helmet to my tunic for the amusement of standing in line with your new silent sisters, invite attention to where none was desired. I will not suffer your company again. Allison Highover. Scribbled below. Gonna miss knocking heads with those girls. A delicate matter. While I am overwhelmed at the prospect of having you, an unwelcome guest requires that you excuse yourself by the postern of my estate to avoid a mark upon our reputations. M. Miss Ambrose. A long, slow grind, the careful motion aided by generous application of oils. Size is no concern with my equipment, and I am always mindful when stuffing, not risking a burst before every order is fulfilled. My meat goes hand in hand with satisfaction. Your interest astounds, but it is not mine to question a customer's choice in nighttime reading. 3-pound sausage again next week? No cheek, of course. Yours, Biller's Butchers. Darling, when we next meet, I find it agreeable for you to leave your hat on, and mayhap your boots as well, your trousers, shirt too, and I shall facilitate said clothes status by locking my door and posting a guard. Duly warned, X. My elf fruit. The herbalist suggested powdered Bronto horn. I was very discreet. Your sunflower. Donegan. On pain of death you are now warned. My father found the letters you previously sent and is watching as I write to tell you our relations are over. We must remain chaste. Patricia. You are filthy, a beast. Such depravity I have never been forced to suffer. How words are so laden when they leave your lips. They are beyond decent imagining. Madame, I love you. Sir Ogold. My dearest Virginia True Royal, regarding Bodice Ripped. Enclosed are 7 silver and my most heartfelt apologies for said bodice. I would blame the cold ocean spray, the loss of my favorite shirt, the bucking of the stallion, or perhaps the strain of maintaining all such elements while sitting for a portrait, but I was certainly not myself. I hope you will forgive me and not take it upon yourself to find your own determined way in this world. Yours, Sir Rival Grossman. Dear Sir John, your ministrations, while well-intentioned, hold no promise. Do not despair, for it is not you, it is of me. I require an interval to acquaint myself with the personage you awakened. I'm certain we can maintain an amiable accord, and the engagements of our mutual associations will not be awkward. Mari. To one's paramour. When we last embraced, one noticed the redolence of another's company, but one was unmindful. His most eminent Sir Feather Hapsmith Oswald III. My love, I long to dance you beneath the moonlight, our hearts beating like a paired wings of a dove, in concert with the glory of the Maker and the beauty of the world that we must shepherd in his absence. Join me in a purity that will last the ages, when the brothers mark the chant of light anew. With all my soul, Eric Denolovin. Scribbled below in a delicate hand, Otter's pocket. He earned it tonight. Circles within circles. Arguments between the various fraternities have become more frequent and heated. I have alerted the Circle of Magi in Cumberland that this needs to be addressed in coming debates, but I fear relations with the Chantry may distract them. I am confident that I can appease the Equitarians and the Loyalists, but the Libertarians are proving divisive. Are the Isolationists even interested in speaking? The threat of blight has actually served some good in unifying us under a common cause, but it does not bode well that any given table in the Great Hall is likely to be ideologically weighed against its neighbor. We can be such a moody bunch staring over our tea. Excerpt from First Enchanter Irving's Notes on Unity. Desire and Need. Notice of Censure. Templar Drass, your remarks in front of the recruits are only the latest in a series of troubling events. I'm beginning to suspect that you may not be suited to the devotional requirements of training. Perhaps it is time for a personal evaluation of your career path within the Templars. I'll schedule some time after the current deployment to discuss options elsewhere within the organization. Attendant Sarand, Assistant to Knight Commander Gregor. A note scribbled in the corner. Attendant who? Options? Code for dead-end duty on a hedge mage hunt in the Banorn. The Notes of Arl Foreshadow. Books to pursue for future endeavors. Lost Countenance, Ferelden to Arlesian Phrasebook. Must not offend the potential landlords. Rising Spirits, Offspring and the Fade. Terrible twos indeed. Forest Fall, Truth and Legend in the Search of Arlathon. Survivors? Poppycock. The Origins of Theses, Knowing More Than Everyone Without Looking Like a Jackass. Never got time to read this. Maybe there's a stage play? Irving's Mistake. I followed another apprentice through supposed secret maneuvers today and exposed her tendency towards blood magic. The environment of the tower is such that certain modes of thought are encouraged, both for good and ill. The students think we toy with them. The truth is far more intricate and directed. Deviant traits must be exposed early, or the whole of the circle suffers. Aldrin has been very helpful in identifying the markers to look for. His skills at misdirection are admirable. I dare say that the apprentices would be shocked at his ability to manipulate them. I must organize a retreat such that the other enchanters can benefit from his skills. Excerpt from the journal of First Enchanter Irving. Promises of pride. Uldred will show us the way. Finally, recognition within the circle and freedom from the scornful eye of the Templars. We will not be shunned. Be ready. Enchanter Gravid, Libertarian. The time is drawing near. Uldren has brought his intentions to light, and a confrontation is all but inevitable. We will separate or walk with our brothers, but we will be free. Enchanter Boson, Libertarian. If blood must be shed and used, so be it. I will follow when he calls. The yoke must be released, whatever the cost. Enchanter Prist, Libertarian. I have spoke with him directly. His intentions are that we will demand the Templars withdraw. I don't know that I'm willing to follow, but I will be present to hear his argument. Enchanter Faust, Equitarian. Madness! I doubt blood will be of use to you if it is flowing down this tower to steps. Step away from this folly before it consumes us all. Enchanter Leuven, Loyalist. The call is made. We will stride out there with pride in our step, regardless of the outcome. This is for the good of the circle. Uldred will see to it. Libertarian Rawness. Extracurricular activities. I have the utmost sympathy for what happened to your charge, but it is beyond the circle's ability to anticipate every obscure demise that an apprentice might face, especially involving methods outside the already extensive realm of magical study. We simply don't have the room for additional training facilities, and there are concerns about becoming too inclusive that I will not elaborate on. Your request is denied. First Enchanter Sinclair. If space is your excuse, I'll surrender my quarters. If it is about money, I will hire the appropriate people. I will not graduate another student ignorant of weapons that any ditch digger can shove into his ribs. We teach them to append ridiculous glamours on parade arms, but they don't know simple steel. That is criminal. Enchanter Burgeon. Notice herewith that the exercise area on the 4th floor shall serve as a permanent berthing for the Templar garrison stationed at the tower. Since facilities to accommodate their particular training requirements are already on hand, they will be assuming an even closer watch over circle affairs. Enchanter Burgeon's optional weapons training is cancelled until further notice. Enchanter Burgeon has additionally stepped down from his teaching duties. First Enchanter Sinclair. And that concludes Volume 7 of Lore Listening Library. Tune in next week where we open the volume on Dragon Age Origins spell combinations.